Okay, Mr. Walker, last time on the first video, you gave us a quick introduction about your thoughts and what the channel will be about. So now we want to start with a few introductory questions to start for the listeners and the viewers of these videos. So we're going to start with a few light questions, get started. Question 1.
Mr. Walker, what do you want to achieve with your book?
Well, the ultimate goal is to put young people in a mindset where they don't have to look to the left or right and compare themselves to others. That's for the younger generation. But for the older generation, I want them to realize by setting a mindset of your household, your children will follow. It's similar to an athlete, similar to somebody who's successful in the business world. You want them to follow your suit. So if you let your children know that if your mind is right, the wealth will come or it won't come. But ultimately, you must keep the right mindset in order to achieve anything you want in life.
Mr. Walker, how do you plan on going about your plan with such limited resources?
Well, the resources are never a problem because one can see an individual in the streets and pass along knowledge. Now, will it help if people chip in, not financially, but wealth to me isn't always monetized. If I was to throw an event and you bring a 12-pack of water and the next person brings some napkins, the next person brings some plates, the next person even come just clean up. So it will be chipped in to help me. So I don't want financial help from anybody, but I do want your mind and your body and your mentality, because you can help me without giving a dime. What you can do is bring your child, your niece, your nephew, your aunts, uncles, grandma, granddaddy to help me spread the knowledge. What I mean by getting this information and pass it on to your children or grandchildren, that'll be just like helping me. But mind you, you're not helping me, you're helping us. This is not about me, it's not about no individual. This is collective about us as a community at whole. So therefore, that's what we want mostly, to help each other as a community at whole. Once we do that, people could donate money if they choose to, but I prefer you not. I'd rather have your time. I'd rather have your ability to help. I'd rather you have the seriousness to sit around with your children or child after you accomplish this knowledge. And then we will do it just like the school. When they send homework home to your child, they expect you to help them at home. So whoever you get this knowledge, go home, get with a family member, and go over this knowledge and come up with the best solution for you.
Mr. Walker, what can people do to help support your cause?
Well, the number one thing we must do is, just like you go to a football game and support your child, come support your child and getting their knowledge. See, what we all go wrong at is we want to glamorize what we want. On a Friday night, we said, my child is on the field. Is you got that same energy and your child getting the schoolwork? Don't let 4 touchdowns override a 4.0. But see, because once you get the mindset of my child leaving the house on a better note, what he do outside the house will carry on. That's why you see certain children have manners in their house and outside their house. You have certain children don't have manners in their house because they'll not be taught or enforced the manners. So therefore, when they go in the streets or they go to some event, they don't have the manners because they're not taught at home. We will reiterate and we will reset the mindset of all parents. That's what's going to start it. I'm going to get the parents on the right page and they will put their child in the right page.
Whom is your target audience that you're trying to help or even reach for that matter?
Parents. I have no idea of what a child is being taught in their home. But if a parent is teaching that child, it will show in the public. See, the school got to realize in order to you to have a well-behaved child come to your school or institution, the parent had to set the tone. Once they set the tone of how their child is left out the house when they take them to school or get on the bus or however they get most of transportation in school, they will come to you well behaved, patience, quietness while you instructing. When you teaching, they won't be talking. And emphasize, just like in church, you be quiet. You be quiet in the school. See, parents want to let the children, oh, my child is okay. No, they need guidance. Because once you got them at a young age and get them knee high, when they look you eye to eye, you don't have to worry about them going out and disreporting you, disrespecting the teachers. And the school system will be proud that they don't have to have bad behavior children.
Mr. Walker, why does it matter to you that you change your people and their conditions?
Well, the conditions are not necessarily why I want to change. I want to change my people. See, people think wealth is what's going to change. No. You can go to somebody's house if they have a family member die. The best thing you can do for that family is not throw trash in front of their yard. The best thing you could do is help elderly people up the steps when they going in the house to see the person that lost their family member. If I can reach the parents, the children shall follow. But most important, what we got to do is act like a police officer or some authoritarian figure is running us all time. If you're not going to do nothing illegal in front of law enforcement or your elder who you respect, especially your parents. If you ain't going to sag in front of your parents, why sag when they ain't around? If you going to be manable while your parents in the car with you, be manable when they ain't around. See, we must start from the beginning. If we could get the beginning, the rest will follow.
What needs to change about the educational system on every level, including elementary, middle school, or college?
Well, the first thing we must recognize as a problem is every child don't comprehend as quick or absorb the information to repeat it, whether it's verbally or written on a piece of paper. See, we all think that children should catch on. Back when I was in school, they had teachers' aides. They would take the slower children and bring them up to par. The school must invest in education from the bottom. And what I mean by that, say a child is slowly behind, or children slowly behind the vast majority in the school. What we must start off is with this. When you in school, I don't know if they still do this, but they used to have 4 students and they'll put them in a group and tell them, sit down and go over the schoolwork, and they can have them as a group. They have one spit the answer out. Now let's go back to that same situation. If we could take 3 of our smartest students, why is they with a 4th smartest student? Let's do 50-50. Take 2 of the top students and put 2 at the bottom. That ain't gonna make the smarter student less smart, but it will help that child at the bottom become better. Also, we must stop bullying. And what I mean by that, this is not physical, this is mental. You got programs like Scholars. You got programs that's aimed to say this child is in a college preparatory class. Why is we separating them? See, because you could say, I want this child to take merit or Scholars, but you're really separating the children. Why you think schools like Brookwood and Valwood and all these private institutions still have children going to Valdosta State? Why? Because they're not getting a better education. Their parents are just paying for it. But what we can do, and we must do, is value every child on an equal level. Therefore, if we teach them equal, they'll learn equal.
Mr. Walker, how was your experience in the military? What you learned, whether it be negative or positive, and would you recommend young men and women join?
Well, before I answer how my experience was, I truly believe, and I have come up with it, and you'll see later on down the line that I have came up with a program which I would propose to the military where we could give 2 for 4. And what I mean by that, if they do 2 years in the military, they could get 2 years of college while in the military. See, the military will give more structure. Because you take an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, they go in the military, they start immediately working with 40 and 35-year-olds or even 50-year-old adults. So they're not catered to. They're on equal playing field. They must do a job. They go to war with them. They take every precaution to make sure this young child is an adult. Now take college, they're amongst other 18-year-old, 19-year-old. And what they do, party together. They don't have to go to class every day. In the military, you go to work every day. You have to be to work on time every day. You have to shave every day. You're getting so many structures and so much leadership, which you're not reading in college. Now, however, when it comes to me, my experience, it was a beautiful thing. I dealt with racism. I slept in the birthing areas with people from Russia, Ukraine, Philippines. All these people were talking their own languages. But when black people and white people was playing rap and country music, they would say, turn it down. But yet instead in the workshop, the Filipinos were speaking their language. The Russians were speaking their language. I didn't know if they was talking about killing me or not. But however, they were stopping rap music. They were stopping country and western. So I thought the world was black and white. But neither did I know the Filipinos, the Italians, the Russians, they had more say-so than we was, and we were speaking English. Would I want to redo the military again? Yes. And I did 20 years. Military was great, taught me a lot of structure, taught me a lot of dealing with different personalities. It also taught me to learn to get along with others, even though you don't agree, but get along to get the job done.
What are your thoughts on marriage, and would you tell people to get married?
Marriage is the worst institution that a person can go into. It's the worst situation a person could go into under the age of 25. The reason I say that because when you take two young people, they think nothing wrong with what they're doing. They can't think the family as a whole. They must think individually. See, now you take a 40-year-old man and a woman. They might be childish in the mind, but they have the experience to deal with certain things. But when you're 20, 18, 19, you think, I don't see no reason to go in the club. A young lady's mama call home, send me something from the military. She don't know her and her husband ain't got no money. But they see other people sending their parents stuff. Therefore, they must do what? They must adapt. See, when you get married, people say, you don't supposed to be going out. You don't supposed to do that. You don't supposed to do. Why not? Just because you get married, it ain't the end of the world. So I would suggest before the age of 25, no one gets married. As a matter of fact, I would ask the government to make sure they can get married before 25. Now, however, when you get mature in the mind, yes, you should be married if that's what you choose to be. But don't get married under pressure or the thought that this is what I should do or my parents did it. Only get married if y'all on the same page.
Mr. Walker, what knowledge would you share from your experience on how people should co-parent?
Well, co-parenting, before I get into that, the government must set the tone. Let's start with the child support. Once you give a woman or a man, if he have custody, child support, it should be automatic giving their rights. Let's stop this legitimizing. Let's stop this come to court and get you a lawyer. When you give her the money, give him or her rights. Now, when it comes to co-parenting, the first thing we must do is forget why they broke up. So if a man and woman was to separate, and the very next week, whether he cheat on her, beat on her, he take her money, get on drugs, whatever case they may do, the only way you shouldn't co-parent if that child is in danger. But other than that, the co-parent should start with, shouldn't care who in the house with them. You should trust the parent, the opposite parent, to believe they won't let no harm come to their child. Co-parenting can be beautiful, because I have seen it done, I have done it. But we must start with quit worrying about what they're doing. Drop your child off. Tell them what time you're going to pick them up, what time you're going to take them back. And if something come up like a family reunion, you say, okay, the family decided to put something together. Call the opposite parent and say, is it possible, can I have my child again this week? And if the man especially comes to pick up his child or children, you must forget what he done to you and say, okay, I have them ready. Now, women got to keep in mind, when you are the primary parent, you must understand that a child don't know nothing about what's going on in the adult world. So what you want to do is tell that child you're going with your daddy for the weekend. And listen, the child say he being abused or she being abused, it's mandatory that you make that child go with that parent. Once we get that down pat, co-parenting will be so beautiful because it is being done, has been done, and it will be done. But as a whole, we must realize that the child needs time with both parents. And eventually, y'all will move on. But immediately, suck in your pride, forget the anger inside of you, and give that child to the opposite parent.
Mr. Walker, what are your thoughts on race and racism? And how do you fix racism?
Well, there's no such thing as race. Race is made upon the mindset. I truly believe blacks and whites can hate each other under one premise: if something has been done or being done to them. So now we got race out the way because race is always a mixture. You could take any race and mix it together, they're going to have to go to the opposite parent side. And who's teaching the racism? The parents. Go to a daycare. And I recommend y'all go to a daycare and sit there and park. You ain't got to have no child. Watch the children get out the cars. First thing they do from the age 1 to 3, run and hug their buddy. Run and hug the person on the floor mat next to them when they take naps. They have chips. They'll even try to put a chip in the other one's mouth. They know nothing about it. They don't know what racism is. Give them to age 5 or 6. When they go to first grade, now they starting to back off. They won't walk each other to the car no more. Come on. My mom telling them, come on. Because they're being taught racism. And the most racist person could teach you something. I was in the Navy, and I had an officer named Goodman. He looked me in my face. He said, I can't stand black people. He said, I don't want nothing to do with black people. However, he said something to me that was very intriguing, and he held his word. He said, but I never lie on you or let nobody lie to you. In every aspect, he held his word. What he did behind my back, I don't know. But in my face, he kept his word. Now, did I respect him for telling me he hate blacks? No. Did I respect him when he did hold his word? Yes. But I knew any given moment, he could change on me.
Mr. Walker, what would you do if one of your children dated a white person or any other race outside of their race?
Well, I personally would stop it by all means necessary. My oldest son had a situation when he was younger, and I appreciate him to the fullest to understand later on why I did it. But he was young, didn't know no better, because I seen the repercussions of what could happen. Because if any individual, whether it be white, Puerto Rican, or any other race, was to do something to my son, I'd have been in prison the rest of my life, especially white. Black and whites have history of hatred, crime, murder, and deep down disgust for one another, whether they're in the right or wrong. So I must stop my children. But however, I have to control only what I can control. But if it was up to me, it would never happen. That don't mean they won't do it. That don't mean that I can stop them from doing it. But I can stop them doing within my household. And that's all I can control. But no, to answer your question, it would never happen on my watch. In closing, I would like to wrap this interview up by reminding everyone I have a book coming out I have a movie coming out. I have an extended interview of the same interview coming out with more in-depth questions. And I also will have a couple of guests to be on my Q&A to explaining them why and what direction I would take. See, because there's no right or wrong direction. But I would like to close this out by telling you this. Everything that I would teach you, gonna teach you and have taught you, whether it's in person or through this interview, especially through my book and movie, is only for your best interest. And remind you, I am here to help you, help your children, and help your lifestyle. Come with me. I'm going to take you where you need to go. I might not stay there to bring you back, but I'm going to take you where you need to go. Some of y'all going to get back in the car with me, and I'm going to return you home safely. Some of y'all going to say, I got to ride back home. Some of you going to say, tomorrow I'll be by your house to get the real information. No matter where I get you at, I'm going to get you. And I'm going to bring you home. I'm going to get you back on track. Grocery store, Walmart, work, park, front of the police station. More so, when I have with this program, I'm going to get to you because you need it and I need to get information to you. Thank you very much for your time, and may all of us be blessed. And whatever gets you there, come to me. I'll get you where you need to go. Thank you. Have a blessed day.